All right, here we go. If I have to multiply the left side by -8, then I've got to multiply the right side by -8. When I do to one side, I got to do the other. That keeps the thing in balance. All right. The important thing when you multiply, and we'll learn here in a few minutes, dividing by a negative number, it reverses the direction of the inequality. All right, so anytime, just keep in mind, anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number with an inequality, it reverses the direction of that inequality. Okay. Now, let's just theoretically talk. If this number over here is a negative, but I multiply by a positive number, it does not reverse the direction. It's the multiplier having to be a negative to change the direction of the inequality. And then because this being a solution set, we do the handlebar mustache and y such that y is less than or equal to -96. Anything I can clear up on that? Any confusion whatsoever? Pretty straight, it's straightforward. It's just like we solved equations. The only thing new and different that you need to keep in mind is that you've got to reverse that direction of the inequality when you multiply, and what we'll learn here in a few minutes, when you divide by a negative number. That's the only thing we're adding on to or kind of changing from what we've done in the past. Questions? All right, so I'm going to scroll down just a little bit and push back a little bit. It comes through. Is that seeable? Here on side 1 of that problem set, and if you didn't download it, it's attached to Tuesday, April 7th assignment page. Here are the answers for the 4 problems on side 1. I know we did a couple of them in class. Take a look at them, compare them to what you have on your problem set, and let's talk about it. Any of those that we need to talk about? Yes, sir.
So like the windows in the back of the room, you can't see like the middle of number 1 and 2.
All right, let me try something different here real quick.
Maybe you can turn the lights on again or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's better.
Yeah, it's pretty bright out, and I think we're getting reflections off the building. Let me come in a little closer, and maybe that'll help with the. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't have blinds on the windows. I know what I can do. I can put some cardboard up there when we come back after Easter. There's some upstairs. All right, so there's the answers. Number 1 is y is less than or equal to 12. Number 2 is n is less than -1100. Number 3 is h is greater than -5. And number 4 is p is greater than 36. Are there any of those I need to walk back through?
Number 2.
Number 2.
Because my sign is pointing the other way. I'm not sure why.
Okay, so we had number 2. The problem was, let me grab my sheet. Number 2 was -n over 50 is greater than 22. All right? So we've got to multiply both sides by -50, right?
Yes, sir.
That resolves the negative with the n, and resolves the 50 in the denominator. When I multiply both sides by -50, that's going to reverse the direction of that inequality. And of course, it's going to make this value a negative number, -1100. Make sense?
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Anything else on 1 through 4 I need to clarify? Okay. I'm going to move. Let's see.
Mr. Grapes, the cameraman again.
Captain Long's cameraman today. All right. He said you need a haircut, Mr. Hunter. All right. If you can't read these, or you can't see them and you want to just look at your paper, all right. Number 5 is n is greater than or equal to 40. Number 6 is b is greater than -1/2. Number 7 is m is less than 1/4, a negative 1/4, sorry. Number 8 is h is less than 5.02. Number 9 is g is greater than -10. Number 10 is p is greater than 5/12. Let's see, let me come down. And then I'll go back and address any confusion. Number 11 is n is greater than 54. Number 12 is a is greater than -21. Number 13 is n is greater than 28. And 14, n is less than -27. So take a look at these answers, 5 through 14. I know I got to put 15 up there. 5 through 14, and tell me or ask questions, or are there any that we need to walk our way through?
I got -5.02 for number 8.
You got a negative? Let's see here. Well, we're going to multiply number 8. We're going to multiply both sides by a -4, and you're going to multiply that -2.51 times a -4. So 2 negatives will make a positive, right?
Yes, sir.
Make sense? All right.
Yep.
Other questions on 5 through 14? Are we getting these answers?
Yes, sir. Except for that one problem that I missed.
All right. Anybody, any of these I need to walk through, or other than one we just did? Any of those I need to walk through? So I assume Chris, we doing all right on these? Mr. Gilmartin? Mr. Clark gave me the thumbs up. Okay, so that was all multiplying to solve these, all right? So what's today's section? It's again 5-2, number 2. So we are going to divide. Now, about an hour and a half ago, I loaded the assignment in Blackboard. If you happen to have a printer right there, you can actually print out this problem set.
Sir, can I please go to the bathroom?
First 5 or 6 problems written on the board, and we're
Bathroom.
going to walk through these collectively, and then you should have sufficient knowledge to do these. It's the same thing we just did, but instead of multiplying, we're dividing. The same holds true with dividing as what we did when multiplying. When I divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, all right, when I divide both sides by a negative number, it once again is going to reverse that direction of the inequality.
Man, that's easy.
Unlike adding and subtracting. When you add and subtract, it does not reverse the direction of the inequality. It's only multiplying and dividing.
Sir, can I please go to the bathroom?
Sure. Makes sense so far? Makes sense so far? Okay, so I loaded that 5-2 problem set number 2. Tuesday we did division or multiplication. Today we're going to do division. We come back on Monday, we're going to do a combination of the 2, and then we move on to section 5-3. We're going to put adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing all together. And you have one full complete package on how to solve all these. All right, let's see how we go. So it's 5-2, problem set 2, solving by division. All right. If you slide in the list a little bit closer, all right. And then once again, if we divide by a negative number, we reverse the direction of the inequality. Okay, so for example, we have -12, just to practice, -12y is greater than or equal to 48. And we want to set this up ideally with that variable on the left side as a positive variable. So to do that, we've got to remove that -12 off that y. Since the relationship between that -12 coefficient and that y variable is multiplication. So just like we did when we solved equations, to undo a multiplication, we divide, all right? So if I divide this side by -12, I've got to divide this side by right? Negative 12 over negative 12, which we've talked about in the past. Anything over itself always equals 1. So this now becomes, and now I'm left with, because that equals 1, with y. And because I'm dividing both sides by a negative number, I've got to reverse the direction of inequality. And 48 divided by a negative 12, or how many negative 12s are in 48, is a negative 4, all right? And I'm not going to do the handlebar mustache, but that's your answer right there.
Mr. Gaffney, is it 5-2 problem set 2?
Yes, sir. It should be in today's assignments. If I did it correctly. There's something else I wanted to tell you. Let me think here. Now, we solve this one by dividing. Is there another way I could solve this? Another approach that would do the same thing? Anybody? Then dividing?
What? Let me see.
Is there another way I could solve dividing by a negative 12?
Multiply.
Multiply by what?
12.
Say it again.
Multiply by negative 12 on both sides.
Well, then,
Mr. Gaffney.
then I'd end up with 144y and whatever 48 times negative 12 is. I think you're in the right ballpark.
By 12, just multiply by 12, just 12, not negative 12.
That's not going to get that negative 12 off the y. You're kind of in the right general area.
Add.
I solved this initially by dividing both sides by negative 12, right?
Yeah, but you can add by.
What's another way I could solve it?
Add.
No, because the relationship between that negative 12 and y is multiplication, not
Yeah.
subtraction. Mr. Martin.
So on the problem set, I just printed it out. It starts at number 4.
Starts at number 4.
Yeah, like on the first page, there's 2, and then it says 4 and 5. And I can't find number 1 on the second page or anything.
Same.
What's it say at the top of the page?
Example 1.
2 dividing polynomials. Problem set number 2.
Then that's the wrong problem set attached to it. I'll have to go back in and fix that. That's the wrong problem set. It should say
Okay.
5-2 solving inequalities by multiplication.
This one's for algebra 2. It says it at the top.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Give me one, let me see if I can, without wasting too much time, let me see if I can real quickly swap that out. Give me 1 second. Maybe swap out without just, but it's gonna take me about 90 seconds to hopefully fix that.
Okay.
All right, let's see if I can do that real quick. I don't know why it did that. Give me a second. Let's see. So it's 5-2. We'll check. That's number 1.
Is my mama cooking?
Okay. Okay. Give me one. I'm just about got it. Give me edit assignments.
Sir, I turned my quiz in, but I think I put it in the wrong thing. I think I put it in the day before, like the problem set, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Josh, what are you doing?
Hands up.
I'll
Put them up.
just email you the quiz.
Or if you could put it in the right, if it's,
Should I just put it in the right Dropbox?
if you put it in the right Dropbox, that would be ideal.
All right, I'll
Sir,
do
come
that.
on. I'm trying to learn algebra.
Well, yeah, Mr. Gaffney.
Who did make that noise?
The only reason I asked why my
Yeah,
if I was just not trying to
Mr. Martin, you
stuff.
can just give me a second because I'm
Yes,
doing
sir.
two things simultaneously.
What is
Shut up, Martin.
Yo.
White people hand sanitizer.
Oh my god, that's hand sanitizer.
That's, give me 1 second. Select a row.
Who still uses those toothbrushes, Josh?
Yo, he's just pulling random stuff, so that's what I'm doing.
I almost just reached for something I shouldn't have reached for.
He's so close to the camera.
Michael Jackson.
Oh wait.
All right, I turned in my quiz.
I have a J on my wall, but I can't take that off. It's like on. Yo.
Okay. Let me get back to Zoom.
Sir, where do you turn in
Okay.
the 5-2 problem set 1? Do we have to turn that in yet?
Yeah, you should have done it by last evening. There's a Dropbox there for that. Okay, I think I solved the 5-2 number 2 problem set. That was for the other for algebra 2 class. So it should be there now. But don't worry about grabbing it unless it's very convenient. You got a printer nearby. Okay. All right. So sorry about the momentary interruption. All right. So we're solving inequalities by dividing. If we divide by a negative number, both sides, we reverse the direction of the inequality. So if we look at number 1 on your problem set, hopefully this matches up with the one that you'll print out either, if not now, later on. All right, so we've got 25g is greater than or equal to negative 100. So what, Mr. Campbell, what are we going to do? How am I going to solve for g inequality?
Divide by 25.
Divide by 25. All right. Is that a positive 25?
Yes.
So if I divide the left side by 25, I've got to divide the
I'm
right.
so freaking hungry.
And the reason
Where
do
did you
that
put?
is anything over itself is always going to equal 1, right?
Yeah. Where did you put the problem set? Did you put up in the class documents, or did you put it in the
I
Dropbox?
took out the wrong one and I replaced it with the new one if all went correctly.
Okay.
So if I divide both sides by 25, 25 over 25 equates to 1, and I got negative 100 divided by 25 is negative 4. And if I put it in proper solution set format, it's G such that G is greater than or equal to negative 4. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
Say it again, please.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
But it still shows the same problem set, but we don't have to print it out now.
Ground. We didn't loop
Doing
this
the
thing.
work.
All right. Mr. Campbell, you still showing the wrong problem set in there? Mr. Hunter, you can't be in bed during class. That's always part of
Sorry,
your.
sir. I was downstairs. Yeah, it's the right problem.
Sorry,
Right,
I
set now?
got my pencil is in
Yeah,
my bed.
I just printed it.
All right,
Just again.
appreciate you letting me know that. Thank you.
You're
Okay, all
welcome.
Not for
right.
me.
Number 2. We've got negative 2x is greater than or equal to 9, right? So, Mr. Martin, since you're front and center on my screen, tell me what I'm going to do to solve this problem.
Divide by negative 2 on both sides.
Divide both sides by negative 2, right? That does
Sure.
2 things. That removes the negative 2 off of x and makes that now just 1x or x, right? Does that. What else do I have to do?
Hold on. Can you move it down a little bit?
What else do I need to do?
Divide 9 by -2.
And what else? Tell me else, what else I gotta do?
Bring down the inequality.
As written?
No. Put it the other way.
We have to reverse the direction because of dividing by -2, and this now becomes x is less than or equal to -9/2, or you could write it, of course, as -4.5, right? Always remember to reverse the direction of the inequality. All right? Questions so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving down the line here. All right, I want you all, without my assistance, to solve number 3, and I'll just read it to you if you don't want to look up here. Number 3 says, excuse me, -5c is greater than 2. And I want you guys to solve it. I'll give you a minute to solve, and then we'll talk about it. All right. Mr. Hughes, how did you solve number 3?
Multiply 5 on both sides. -5 on both sides.
You multiplied what by both sides?
-5.
Well, if I multiply this left side times -5 times -5, that I now have 25c, right?
What am I? Oh my! Wait, hold up. I'm dividing. Is it dividing? I think it's dividing.
What's the name of this section? Dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by -5, right?
Divide both sides by -5.
A divide is also then change the direction of the inequality. So
Yeah, so
5 becomes 1 as my coefficient. I've got to change the direction of that inequality, and I got -2/5.
I got you. And then you got.
Now, if you want to multiply, you can multiply, but what would you multiply by?
What I'm a negative.
You wouldn't be able to.
Or the inverse. I could multiply both sides by -1/5. We're dividing, so
Oh yeah,
it accomplishes the same thing, but I could take the reciprocal and multiply both sides by -1/5. And if you're more comfortable with that, hey, you are still dividing because that -5 still ends up in the denominator position. But if in your train of thought or thinking, it's more logical and the mechanics are more simpler for you, you can multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which would be multiply both sides by -1/5. I'm not, both accomplish the same thing.
Mr. Gaffney,
Yes, sir.
why did the fraction on the right side stay -2/5?
Because I divided both sides by a -5, and initially that 2 was a +2, right? If this had been a negative, this now would have become a positive because I would have had 2 divided by a negative becomes a positive.
Okay.
If there's no questions, do number 8 or question number 4, which is -8m is less than -64. -8m is less than -64, and I'll give you a minute to solve that.
Okay, sir, I'm going to turn in 5-2 problem set 1 that was due yesterday, but I already turned in my quiz there on accident. So I'll have 3 documents. I'll have 2 documents in there. So one of them's the quiz, one of them's the problem set.
I'll try to keep that straight. Download that stuff.
And then I turned the quiz in the right spot as well, too. So.
All right. So, Mr. Campbell, since you're there, how did you or will you solve number 4? Mr. Long, if you can back up just a little bit. There you go.
Divide each side by -8.
Divide each side, and what else will I do as a result of that?
Flip the sign.
Flip the sign. So -8 over -8 becomes, we've got M. Mr. Campbell just told you I got to reverse the direction of the inequality because of dividing by a negative number. I got a -64 divided by a -8 is a positive. There's my answer. I'm not going to put it in solution form because I want to do a couple other things before we run out of our time slot. Any questions on that one? All right, last problem. It's number 5, and it says -6k is less than 1/5. -6k is less than 1/5. Okay. Mr. Gilmore, how are we going to solve this one? Or how did you solve this one?
Hold on. My screen's still blurry, like it won't work.
You could just tell me how you would solve it.
I know, like I can't see it though.
All right, it's negative, write it down on a slip of paper, or you're on your paper. -6k is less than 1/5. -6k is less than 1/5.
You would add 6.
What's the relationship between that -6 and that k? That -6 is the coefficient of k, which means I've got -6k's. It's a multiplication. I've got -6k's, so I've got to divide to undo that -6k relationship. So if I divide -6 by the left, I got to divide -6 by the right, and I also need to reverse the direction of the inequality. Now, I've got a fraction divided by a number, and we've talked about what do I do with this 1/5 over -6, all right? And the easiest thing to do that is to change this division problem into a multiplication problem, once again by taking this reciprocal. So this is the same as 1/5 times -1/6. All right? It's asking to divide 1/5 by -6. So now that becomes k is greater than -1/30. I'll put it in solution set format. Okay, so your final answer is k such that k, just a little bit more, k such that k is greater than -1/30.
Wait, so would 1/3 would work, or no? It has to be 1/30.
1/30 because it's 1 times 1 is 1, and 5 times 6 is 30. Actually, 5 times a -6 is 30.
Can we leave early, sir?
Sorry?
Can we leave early, sir?
Please.
I want to go over a couple things here real quick. Okay? I only got you for 50 minutes twice a week. I think,
That's too long.
and you came in late, Mr. Seeley. You want to leave early? Come on.
Sir, I have a big explanation why I was late.
Okay. I don't know
And
if,
it's actually very valuable.
yeah, I don't know if you want to put that on Zoom class. Okay. So
Some KFC.
a couple things. All right. This problem set is loaded on Blackboard now, the correct problem set. Write this down on your worksheet if you haven't downloaded. It's 5-2, problem set number 2, right? And it's solving inequalities by multiplication, division, and there's a big box up at the top, and it talks about the properties of dividing inequalities in particularly the negative component and having to reverse the direction of the inequality. So we actually did side 1. We did 1 through 6, or you did side 1 through 6. And on the back side, there's 7 through 19. So there's another 11 or 12 problems, all right? So work on those today, have that all ready to go when we come back Monday a week from now.
Sir, 5-2 problem set 2.
Yes, sir. It's under
Can you send it to me through an email?
I have it.
Mr.
Do
Gaffney,
we turn it in? Is there a black box?
There's a
Blackboard.
Dropbox for it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just go to the assignments page. You can download it from there. All right.
Oh, Mr. Gaffney.
Let me finish my announcements and I'll take some questions. Now, when we come back in about what, 12 days or so, make sure you've got a working camera, no do-rags, no hats. If you don't come to class on time, I'm not supposed to allow you to come in. It's not my rule. I'm just the messenger and the enforcer. You'll just have to watch the class on the YouTube channel, which I prefer you don't. I'd rather have you in class so we can at least have a little bit of interaction. All
I
right?
doubt anybody watches it though.
I can tell who's watching it. All right. Make sure if you didn't turn in the 5-1 quiz yesterday, you do so today. It's not entered by 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's going to go in as a 0. Make sure you've taken the Flexi quiz from that I emailed you the link to. I know there's an issue with Mr. Davidson. It'll take you a couple of days to work that out. You owe me 5-2 problem set 1 from the Dropbox from that was due yesterday also. So make sure you put that in there sometime today. And then you've got the back side of this problem set to do, and we'll pick up with that when we come back on Monday, a week and a half from now. All right, Mr. Martin, you had a question.
It's not really a question, but the problem set, it wasn't showing up because I stayed logged in and then I logged out and logged back in and then it showed up. So
Okay, thanks for sharing.
no problem, sir.
All right, if there's no other questions, everybody
Mr. Gaffney,
have a nice Easter, safe Easter, happy Easter, healthy Easter.
yeah.
And we
Mr.
will
Gaffney.
see you in about, what, 11 or 12 days, I guess?
Mr. Gaffney,
Mr. Hunter?
can you send me the worksheet through email? You email it to me?
Only if you send me an email asking for it, because I won't remember to do that. Because I got 77 guys chomping at the bit for stuff. It's on Blackbot on the assignments page. Why are you making me double my workload to get the problem sets?
When you gonna put my grade in?
When you quit asking for 1,000 things that are already available to you through other means and sources, because you're making me do 3 things what should have been done in 1 step for you. So
Thanks.
go to the assignments page and download the problem set. If you
Mr. Gaffney.
have that, then email me a request for it. All right, Mr. Kelly, do you have a question?
Not letting me submit the 5-2 problem set to a Blackboard. You want me to email it to you?
Yes, sir. All right, any other questions before we sign off?
No, sir.
Okay, everybody have a nice Easter with family and friends, and we'll see you in about a week and a half.
You too, sir. Stay
Okay.
safe.
You too. Stay safe and healthy. All right. Mr. Hunter, you can sign off. Make sure you're at a desk, kitchen table, or somewhere when we come back on Monday. Otherwise, I'll have to remove you from the class. All right? Okay, we'll see you, Mr. All right, since I once again forgot to hit the record button at the start of class, I'm going to go over my announcements at the beginning of that were from the beginning of class. Now they were discussed at the beginning of class, but now are going to be on the end of class for the couple of students that weren't in class today. All right, so the 5-1 quiz on adding and subtracting to solve inequalities, which was put out on Tuesday, the 7th, was due yesterday. If you don't have it in by 3 o'clock today, it's going to go in as a 0. We had to redo the flexi quiz on parallel and perpendicular lines from over 2 weeks ago, since most of you took the quiz without establishing an account, which gave me a lot of quizzes with no names. That is due by the end of today. Right? Otherwise, that'll go in as a 0. Also due yesterday was the 5-2 problem set number 1, which was solving inequalities by multiplication that we did over half of in class on Tuesday that you were supposed to finish up and submit in Dropbox yesterday. That needs to be in by the end of the day today to avoid getting 0. All right. Administration is implementing some additional policies to try to stop some of the disruptions, distractions, Zoom pirates, whatever you want to call it, so that valuable class time is not being squandered by practical jokers. All right. So a couple things that'll go into effect when we come back after Easter break is you must join the class at the start time. If you're a couple minutes late, we're asked not to admit you. You just have to watch the class on the YouTube channel at a later date and time. I'd prefer you not do this or get into the situation. That way we can interact with each other during class, address questions, concerns, any confusion, or lack of understanding. So please come to class on time. I've only got you twice a week for 50 minutes, and we got to make that time valuable and productive. You must have a camera on. If you don't have a camera on, you're supposed to be removed from the class, all right? So administration is sending every household, Benedictine household, today that policy, and also some links on Amazon. You can get a camera that just plugs right into a USB port on your computer for about $10. So it's very economical and very easy to do if your current computer does not have a camera. And also reference your rep grade. Noticing today, you've got to be at a desk, not in bed, Mr. Hunter. You've got to have no hats, Mr. Seeley, Mr. Hughes, and others. No hats, no food, okay? That's all part of your rep grade for the week. You do those things, you get 45 points for each class for a total of 40, and you check in during my office hours only once per week for that other 10 points for 100 on your rep grade. I think that brings us up to date. I may have started just doing a quick little review of 5-1 problem set 1 from Tuesday, which was the solving inequalities by multiplication. All right, and the big stress or big new or different thing that was that if I have to multiply by a negative number to solve that inequality, I reverse the direction of that inequality, which, as in this example, negative y over 8 is greater than or equal to 12. And to solve this, I need to multiply both sides by a negative 8. That changes that coefficient to 1. It takes care of the 8 and the negative sign, but it does reverse that direction of the inequality. So it's y is less than negative 96, and there's the solution set format. From there, we went over, produced or showed the answer key for that particular problem set from Tuesday, and we cleared up any confusion or lack of understanding or differences in answers from 1 through 4 all the way over to, I'm just going to slide back and capture the whole thing. What do we have? 5 through 14. I believe that's where the recording started. Okay, that concludes this Thursday, April 9th, Algebra 1E period. Everybody has a great Easter, and we'll see you in about a week and a half.